of Starbuck as a woman, I thought, oh, that's, that's interesting, okay. And then he said, and rather than just having this commander, Adama, we'll have this, second half of the, leadership will be embodied by a female in charge. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. So we got a lot of women in charge. And then Ron said, yeah, and I want all the men to have to call them sir. I said, Ron, is this really just about empowering women, or is some reason why you really want the men to call the women sir?
And this time around, they all have to be 16.
Yeah, exactly.
Those records have been seen.
What about, September 11th was such a big part of Battlestar. It was woven into the fabric of it. It was hard to watch a show and not think about all the things that happened after that day. This show seems to have different things that it's tapped into. What are some of the, as far as corporations and industry and ethics, can you two talk about what you did going past the September 11th influence?
Well, we said, Caprica is us today. Galactica was sort of us in the post-9/11 world, writ large, taking it to the next step and saying, okay, what if the entire civilization had been wiped out? There was only this course. We kept saying, what if we did a show where it was just the people inside the World Trade Center that had survived and everyone else was dead? And that was sort of the hallmark for Galactica. And then for Caprica, we said, well, this is a society much closer to ours now in many ways. We're going to deal with corporate intrigue, we're going to deal with politics, we're going to deal with sort of society and class, and the immigrant experience, and it's going to be much more recognizable as sort of the world that we live in right now. And so we were in pains to sort of try to give as many familiar sort of touchstones to the world in Caprica as we could. And yet, it's sort of like saying we're doing a show that's now inside the World Trade Center in the years leading up to 9/11. So it always has this sort of cloud, there's this foreshadowing, you always know that all these people are doomed, this society is doomed, it's all going to come to a really ugly, messy end, and none of them are aware of it. And I thought that's an interesting tension that should underlay the entire show.
For the actors on the panel, I always think it's interesting to talk to actors about when they first take on a character, they think it's a certain thing, and then as the character goes along and grows and surprises them, they find it might not be what they first thought it was. It's just the different, the odyssey of the character. Maybe if you guys can talk a little bit about when you took the role, what you thought it was, and if it's changed, and if it hasn't, that's fine. But is there any surprises there, James?
Yeah, I was surprised about how much love there was in the character. I was directed to really be a loving Methodist priest. My dad was a Methodist priest, and so I knew a bunch of priests, and I came in going, okay, I'm going to be the villain again, and I really was told to really open up other doors, and I think that was somehow the creepy came in. That happened. So yeah, for me it was a love.
For me it was the gay, I think. That came as a bit of a surprise, but a pleasant one, mind you, because I think it actually ended up making the character much more layered and much more interesting, and certainly has a very interesting message or a take on a world where that isn't a stigma, that isn't an issue, and how we function in a world like that. So that's an interesting layer as well. It's not the mobster you think it is. He's a loving uncle. He's a family man. He's a devoted member of his community, and it's fascinating to see this dichotomy play out, where all of a sudden this character ostensibly is the worst guy in the cast. It turns out to be quite lovable at times, I think.
I think for me, when I went in for it originally, I thought it was supposed to be, rebellious rich teen, and she creates an avatar of herself, and I wasn't aware of how many different Zoes would come out of it. Especially after the pilot doing the robot, being in that body and having to stand still and just be able to work with my eyes, and that's my form of communication. I would not have ever thought I would be doing that. And those are some of my favorite scenes because, I can't speak, so my emotion literally is in my eyes, and it was really rough and terrible working with Eric and Paula because it was so heartbreaking seeing them talk so poorly about their daughter, and she's standing right there and she can't scream or say anything about it. So that was something that I didn't expect to be doing.
Not to mention the fact that in the second half of season 1, you do get to kick people's asses in leather and stilettos.
Right. That.
But you said you're going to be wearing less clothes more often, right?
Yeah. So, seems to be what I'm good at, so.
Meg, what about your character?
When I read the pilot, I just remember thinking that Lacey seemed a little undefined, and where did she fit into the script? And that's actually what I realized. It kind of clicked, and I realized that was actually her whole part in the world of Caprica is she is undefined. She's still being molded, and I've just kind of gone with her to figure that out, and it's been really interesting.
Yeah, we're going to get ready to take some questions from the audience, and if I could ask you guys to not make proposals, pitches, don't threaten anybody, please make sure everything ends in a question mark. You can start lining up there, and while you guys are doing that, Ron and David, one of the things that happened with Battlestar is this great story arc, and it wraps up. There's beginning, middle, and end. Do you guys have a sense of the end game of Caprica when it arrives? Do you know where we're going?
No, we're holding that out for now. In the first season of Galactica, I couldn't have told you how long it was going to go, or where we were going to. I mean, I knew sort of what the ending was going to be in general, because they were going to, it was baked into the show that they were going to get to Earth one way or another, and it was going to be something. With Caprica, you can look ahead between where Caprica is right now and the beginning of the Battlestar miniseries, and there's at least a half dozen points along that historical timeline that I can see this show ending. And I think we have to just sort of get into the second season and potentially the third, and sort of feel what the rhythm of the show is and what's going to be the natural place to end this part of the story. And right now, I think we're just open, and we'll just see what happens.
We'd also like to announce that we have a third season order for Caprica.
Yeah, we don't have the second. But in a very unusual move, they're going to order the third. It's a bold new strategy from Sci-Fi.
I'm just glad to hear that Battlestar was baked. I had no idea that Battlestar was baked. Half baked, full baked. All right, so let's take some questions from the audience. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, my question's for Sasha, and I wanted to know how your real-life relationship with your family informs your performance.
It actually does help quite a bit because my family immigrated from Russia, and I was still a kid. I was about 6 years old when we came over. I grew up in Canada, and I was waiting for that couple out here. I can smell it. So there's the immigrant experience. There's we were a minority growing up, so there was definitely dynamics in my upbringing that informed the character for sure. Thanks.
Next, hey, how you doing?
Hi. My question's for James. How did you go about trying to separate yourself from playing Spike to creating this new fabulous character of Barnabas in a whole new fandom?
Spike came out of a period of my life right after I got kicked out of college, and I was bartending at the Hard Rock, and I was hanging out with really, really, really bad people in really bad places, and so that's where that came from. I guess where Barnabas ended coming from was really my dad. As a Methodist minister, so my dad never blew anybody up. So it's just different chapters of my life and different people that you just kind of start with. Yeah, good question.
Hey there.
Will we see the younger versions of characters from Battlestar, or perhaps mention their families? Especially interested in seeing young Dr. Cotto.
Young Dr. Cotto.
Woo! That's a great idea, actually. Still be smoking at like age 6.
Right now, we don't have any plans for that. I think it's one of the danger zones of the show is to get too cute and to start, and here's so-and-so's dad, but I'm not saying that we'll never do it, but it's not really at the forefront of our storytelling.
Yeah, you're looking for like the bullseye opportunity. If you're going to do it, it has to really be unexpected, and it's too easy to kind of fall victim to that.
Good question.